Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us for our third day of Wales Tech Week. And Talent for Tech, which is what we have here today, is the ultimate tech career event. Part of Wales Tech Week and powered by Technology Connected, Talent for Tech is your opportunity to jump into the fastest growing sector in the world. So let's kick off with our first session for today. And if you are ready to launch your tech career but not sure where to start, then this is the place to be. Our panel will help you to stop wondering, how do I get into tech? And start planning your move. Chairing this panel today, and we have a fantastic panel assembled for you. Chairing the panel is David Sadler. David is the founder of Sadler Recruitment, a specialist tech and digital recruitment agency built from the ground up here in Wales. So please put your hands together and welcome David and our panel to the stage.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're really excited to share something really important, the paths into the tech world, and how there isn't just one way, and nor one definition of what it means to work in technology. You might think tech is only for coders, or you need a computer science degree to get started. But the truth is, technology careers are open to far more people than you might realize, including school leavers, mums, graduates, returners to work, people from underrepresented backgrounds, and even people starting completely new. There is a space for everybody. So I want to start with a few stats. In the UK, the tech industry is growing 3 times faster than the rest of the economy. Over 50% of tech jobs don't actually require a computer science degree. There's a huge range of roles in tech. So a lot of people think it's just coding. There's far more. So there's cybersecurity, software engineering, data analysis, cloud infrastructure, UX, AI, and many more. So today's panel is a perfect example of the different ways to get into tech. Brogan works at Novo and has come through an apprenticeship. Jess has got a really inspiring story. 6 months ago, she couldn't code, but after doing a boot camp, she is now looking to set her own company up. Marley, through a graduate apprenticeship route with General Dynamics. And finally, Jack, who is currently a graduate network designer at BT, studying mechanical engineering at the University of Birmingham. So in the next sort of, 18 minutes, I'll let all the panelists introduce themselves and their story. We'll explore different ways to get into tech and look at what they're doing now. And then hopefully have some questions. If anyone's got any questions, we can run a Q&A at the end. Most of all, I want to show that tech isn't an exclusive club. It's a welcoming space with a huge variety of roles. So I'll now pass over to Jess, and if you want to give your story about how you got into tech and anything you think the audience would be interested in.
Hi, so I'm Jess. I am 26, and 6 months ago I couldn't code a line of code. I have always had an interest in coding, and I have always been fascinated by how coding works and how computers work, but I've never felt able to pursue a career in tech for various reasons. One being I'm very bad at maths, and I thought that was very defining. I am a mum to a 2-year-old little girl, and I'm currently expecting my second baby. And I was, I guess, looking for a change in career because I was feeling a bit stagnant. I have an English language degree, and I did various admin jobs, copywriting jobs for a few years, and I guess it was fulfilling, but not something that I could see myself doing long term. I ended up just randomly looking at coding and software development boot camps around me, which there were none because I live in rural Wales. And I ended up stumbling upon one in Cardiff and Vale College. I used to live in Cardiff and I don't anymore. And on a whim, decided to apply for it. I didn't know how I was going to make it work because I live 2.5 hours away and I've got a toddler. And they accepted me, and I was like, oh, okay, now I have to actually make this work. And I ended up actually doing the boot camp 5 days a week for 11 weeks away from my little girl, and I stayed with friends and family in Cardiff. And it really surprised me that actually I was very good at coding. And, you know, a lot of the preconceptions I had and the misconceptions I had about coding, I proved them wrong. I graduated, I guess, had my level 3, and I just found out I had this huge passion for anything tech related, coding, design, and I kind of ran with that, and I now am on the cusp of releasing a SaaS, a software as a service, a web app called Mintr, which is essentially a brand strategist in your pocket. It's for small and medium businesses, and what it does is you put your business name in, and it essentially generates an entire brand name analysis report, a branding suite, colors, everything you could think of. And because I am very stubborn and don't like to use anything that anyone else has made, I've been training my own AI, my own LLM called Finley, in Azure Foundry on my own data sets. So its only purpose is to use data from, use data from kind of data sets that are only relevant to what my SaaS does. So it's made completely for Mintr. And it's been a wild ride. You know, I'm kind of winging it as I go along. It's very bootstrap, very white label, but I'm just on the cusp of kind of building a demo and releasing it, hopefully tomorrow. And it just goes to show that, you know, you don't have to be from a tech background. You don't have to necessarily fit the tech stereotype. You don't have to be good at maths to do a career in tech.
Hello everyone, my name's Jack Abis, and I'm a recent graduate network designer at BT. Yeah, just recently joined. That being said, the path to that role definitely wasn't straightforward. When I was younger, I knew I wanted to be in tech, but really had no idea what specific job I wanted to get into. I know I really liked creating and problem solving, but apart from that, yeah, world was my oyster really. Yeah, because of that, I went and studied mechanical engineering at the University of Birmingham, mainly because of the transferable skills it would give me, and also speaking to people. Studying engineering gives you such a wide range of options post-university. During my time at university, I really used that time to explore as many different career paths as possible. The main route of that was through summer internships. So I did one summer internship working in IT audit at a Big Four consultancy firm. And then my second summer was working at BT, learning about the design and delivery for network solutions. I enjoyed my time at BT so much that I returned to BT after university, where I am now today. And yeah, the work I get involved in at the moment is building and designing and delivering network solutions for a range of different organizations and governments across the UK, with my main focus at the moment being on how cloud computing can really help transform a company's connectivity.
Hi, my name is Marley. I'm 18 years old and I work at General Dynamics. I decided to go to college straight from school, where I took part in the mechanical engineering diploma, which I carried on after I applied for General Dynamics and happily got the job, where I then went 1 day a week alongside working, and I completed that with a distinction last year. So I was able to go to uni to complete HNC. So whilst I'm also working in General Dynamics, I am currently defence vehicles, so armoured vehicles, and I work on helping create different work instructions and different tech, so the BOM, bill of materials, which is part of my job as a manufacturing engineer apprenticeship. In uni, I'm taking part in the mechanical HNC, which is 2 years long. So I'm doing that as alongside an MVQ level 3 to hopefully complete my apprenticeship now in 2 years.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant.
Hi, I'm Brogan. Yeah, so I probably had the most basic kind of straightforward start to my career, I guess. I went to college. I did H&D in computing, and well, COVID hit, so loads of fun there. But I always knew I didn't really want to do university traditionally. It was never really for me. I didn't really, enjoy it. I'm a bit of a gamer, so I kind of wanted to stay in and play games instead of go out clubbing. And I got quite lucky. I joined my company, went to the University of South Wales, did a computing degree, and yeah, I graduated this year, and now I'm full-time, and I'm in the world of work, and hopefully not making too many mistakes. But, we learn from them, so yeah.
Amazing. Obviously, what a great panel. So many different pathways into tech. Jess, amazing story. Obviously, you talked a bit about motherhood and obviously battling the challenges of sort of other things in your life to get into tech. What advice would you give to like mums thinking of switching into tech, but were worried about sort of time or confidence?
So I feel like there's not really any solid advice I could give apart from that you've just got to kind of do it, I guess. You've got to overcome any kind of imposter syndrome. You've got to come to terms with the imposter syndrome you no doubtedly have as a mother anyway, and find a way to make it work. I think I'm a good testament to the fact that you could definitely make it work, and I think people will find that places like boot camps and apprenticeships are very flexible with circumstances. I've certainly had to have a few more days off than was allowed because my daughter was sick or something to do with nursery or an appointment. So I think my advice is that I think you'll find that a lot more people want you to succeed in the industry you want to go into than you think, and to kind of believe that people do trust in you and do believe you.
No, perfect. And obviously there's a huge push to get more women into tech as well, which is absolutely huge. And I see that with companies every day. Jack, like you mentioned your sort of internship, your apprenticeships, etc. How do you think working in multiple environments has helped you in your role now?
I think it's had a massive impact, and I think the reason it has is building up my softer skills. I think it's talked a lot about building up your technical skills through accreditations, degrees and training, but I think a set of skills that is definitely not talked about enough but is equally important is your ability to communicate to a wider range of people. I think especially in tech, when you're working on projects, there's always so many people involved, from the designers, developers to project managers, and even the client. So I think having those skills and being able to work as a team, communicate effectively to a range of different people, no matter their kind of technical expertise, is really important if you want to work on a successful technology project.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Brilliantly said. There's lots of different skill sets that is needed in the tech industry. Brogan, we talked a bit about this in the room, but did you ever feel unsure if tech was the right path? And how did you move forward and get past that?
Yeah, so yeah, a bit of an embarrassing story, I guess. At one point, I wanted to do psychology. And if anyone knows me well enough, you'll know that that was definitely the wrong career choice. I probably would have said a few things I shouldn't say. And thankfully for the NHS, I didn't pursue that route. But yeah, when I finished school, I was actually originally going to go to college and do an electrical engineering course as well. And then I didn't get a B in maths, and I couldn't do that. And then just did a year in McDonald's, and then realised that maybe playing games could kind of turn into a bit of a career, I guess. But no, I think if you spoke to my family, they'd say that they kind of always knew I was going to do computing. It just took me a while to kind of realise that that was the way. I think I got put off a lot by coding and thinking I have no idea how to do that. When I was in school, I could barely do English, let alone Welsh, and then every other language that's put on top of you through year 7 to year 9. So I kind of thought every coding language would be the same, and I wouldn't be able to do anything but, grammatical errors in English. So I think kind of getting over that idea that things are different and you can pick things up in different ways. And the way I learned coding was mainly just being a bit sad and working on projects where I just do stuff for games, and it kind of just clicked then. But yeah, there was definitely other options, but I think it was always really going to be tech for me, I guess.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. And you mentioned it, Jess. Imposter syndrome is huge, I think, in tech, in all walks of life. But actually, the message is there are resources, there's communities out there, and you just need to sort of work hard, work through it, because there are opportunities there. Marley, in terms of your apprenticeship and your HND and lots of different things that you're doing to get into the industry, why did you choose that route, and why would that be a good move for someone else, do you think?
Since being in school, I've always been fascinated with engineering and any sort of concept around that. So I knew that was sort of the field I wanted to go into. There's not a lot of women in engineering, so I always thought that as a challenge, thinking I could challenge myself and prove a point. And then when I was in college, local to me, there's a company called Aspire where that could help you get through and help you find an apprenticeship. They were very helpful, so I was able to go through them to apply with General Dynamics, and it's locally based to me, and I've always had an interest in defence as well, so I was able to best of both worlds, and I was lucky enough to get through past the interviews and get a job there, where I was then obviously having a look at, I was jumping through different types of jobs within there. Even though I went as a manufacturing engineer, my boss wanted me to explore most of the company to understand it all. So I was able to look at design engineering, as well as even just being on the shop floor fitting as well. And I realised, yeah, this is something that I'd want to do, and I was happy enough to carry on and enjoy it. Thank you.
Brilliant. Perfect. Just quickly, Jess, what resources or sort of online tools did you use to help you in those early stages? And then I'll come to Q&A after that.
So I lived on Reddit during my boot camp. I was always asking questions or looking answers up. I also found a lot of solidarity in GitHub. GitHub has a questions kind of section where you can read answers as well. There's another site that doesn't spring to mind right now, which is really frustrating, but you can essentially just ask coding related questions and see how people have answered those in the past, which have been really good as well. I also use Codecademy. So I'm a very visual learner. I can't kind of get on with the traditional way of teaching, which is like lecture style. So Codecademy, what it does is it simulates an IDE, which is an integrated development environment, and you can do what I call hand-holdy code, which is you code and it kind of talks you through each step and what you did wrong, and it shows you kind of the output. It's really, really good and highly recommend it, especially if you're more of a visual learner. So there's ways and means to find all different things that work for you.
Perfect. I'm being told I think we need to quickly move on. Is there any sort of questions that anyone would like to ask the panel at all?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. That was a really interesting discussion. Thank you. And it's great to hear about all the different pathways into tech careers that you've been through. I guess if I had one question, and I'm not at the start of my tech career, sorry, I'm probably at the other end of it, but is there one particular development or trend in tech that excites you for the next sort of, let's say, 2 to 3 years, and you can see really changing the sort of the tech landscape? What would that be?
Both excites and terrifies me is the capability of AI in tech and how that will fit into different roles and different apps and how that will work structurally as well.
Yeah, I think for me, again, AI, it's the one word that everyone's going to be talking about. Yeah, for me specifically, I think in terms of network design, AI is something that can revolutionize, but also is something that needs to be handled with a lot of care. When we're talking with big corporations, they are incredibly tentative to incorporate AI, especially into network design, something that, you know, for a network, it can't fail, and especially recently with all the, you know, cybersecurity, it's a topic that people are acutely aware of. And yeah, AI, while it can be amazing, I think it needs to be taken with a pinch of salt, and implementation needs to be very carefully done.